guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lucy, and we're back with another day of 31 days of Spooktober. So I hope you're all doing good, I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're ready to listen to something spooky. So, isn't it mad that 31 days of Spooktober is nearly over? It makes me sad. So today we're going to be covering something completely different. When I say completely different, I mean completely different. This is not ghosts, this is not fairies, this isn't monsters, this is the Welsh Triangle. So this is about UFOs. If you're ready guys, let's get stuck in. Set in a little place called Broadhaven, and in the 1970s this claimed its name as the Welsh Triangle, named after the Bermuda Triangle. Some people called it the Broadhaven Triangle, but the longer it went on, the more people seemed to realise that this was like the only place in Wales this is happening to, so Broadhaven became the Welsh Triangle. After a headline in the newspaper read, "Spaceman Mystery of Terror Triangle." So like I said guys, this all happened in the 70s. And it started off in February of 1977. So it was actually in a school. A group of 15 school kids came in from their break and they were so excited to tell their teacher that they'd seen a spaceship land in the field just by the yard that they played in. Now, as you can imagine, they were overly excited, everyone was talking over each other, they were just excited to tell everybody. Perhaps not so surprisingly, the teacher palmed it off. Didn't really listen to much of it. They were kids. She thought they were just playing a game outside about a spaceship and she just palmed it off and left it all go. However, as soon as they left school, they carried on with these stories. They told everyone, anyone who would listen. Parents, friends, other teachers, absolutely everybody that they could talk to. And of course, nobody in the grown-up world would take them seriously. Everyone still thought that they were just playing a game about spaceships. However, when they got home, they started to tell similar stories, and some of the parents were friends to talk to each other about it, and they ended up saying, okay, well tomorrow let's go to the police station, just report it. We don't know, there could have been someone trying to trick them into thinking there was something going on in the field, and we don't want that type of thing going on with our kids. So the next day they went to the police station, they reported it, and it was set as an investigation. So as you can imagine, all this fuss made the headmaster just want to know more, and he said to the kids, you go into class now. All of you, I want you to draw a picture of what you saw yesterday. All of the kids' drawings were highly consistent, all featuring a saucer-shaped UFO with a domed top, all of them the same colours. This heralded a year of activity in Broadhaven. Vast numbers of people claimed that during that year they had experiences with UFOs. One of the groups of people who went forward was the Coombs family. Now they owned Ripperston Farm, it was their home, and in around May, Mrs. Coombs was driving her 3 kids home, and she said that all of a sudden a bright light in the sky came down to her car. She said it sped so fast that she had to keep her eyes on it and she couldn't keep up with it in the sky. So basically it got to the car, overtook her, came back very slowly and over it the whole way back to the farm. As you can imagine, everyone in the car was terrified. You got like massive bright light on top of you. They didn't know what it was. They all had a kind of idea of what it was, but you don't really jump to that conclusion, do you? It followed alongside the vehicle until they reached home. Mrs. Coombs said, and I quote, "It was about the same size as a rugger ball, but the colour was yellowish on top and silvery on the bottom, and beaming some sort of torch light underneath it. The object kept pace with the car the whole journey, and when they stopped it rose and hovered over the passengers sat in the car. Now eventually they decided they couldn't wait any longer for it to go, so they jumped out of the car and ran straight into the house where the elder brother had said that he'd watched it all happen." Now before they got out of the car, this is where all the car trouble started. The headlamps started to flicker and then completely shut off, and the engine cut out. As soon as they got in the house and looked back, the unidentified object sped off to the coast. Now, 3 weeks later, Mr. and Mrs. Coombs woke up in the middle of the night. It was early morning, late night. They both saw something looking through their window. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. They said, and I quote, "It was at least 8 feet tall, wearing a silver coloured one-piece outfit. And where the face should have been, there was a black void. The thing was placing its hand on the window and just rattling it really, really loud. And the evidence it left behind was that the TV had stopped working, all of the fuses had burnt out and caused fire, and a rose bush had been singed in their farm. I don't know if this counts as real evidence, but I trust them in what they saw. So up until June there were several more sightings. However, this brings us then to when the eldest Coombs brother was at home alone and two men in silver suits knocked the front door. He said they were unusually tall, and so when he saw them he locked the door and hid until his family got home. It said they had bulging foreheads and large penetrating blue eyes and a silver car that the eldest Coombs son had never seen in the village before. It said then that the two tall men in their silver car went to a cottage nearby and asked for Mrs. Coombs. The person who lived in the cottage refused them entry and said that she wasn't happy with them going inside their house, so they just left. That car was never seen again. Now the Coombs family have an idea of where they think that the aliens come from. Where they live, there's what they call the Stack Rocks. Now this is at the side of the beach. They stand out around half a mile on the coast, on St. Bride's Bay. According to them, the rocks would be a perfect place to study scientific development and military installation. They said that they could also study US underwater radar research or Browdy Air Base. They say they have evidence of this. The next year they saw a silver disc, and the silver disc was flying towards the rocks. They said they actually saw it go at such great speed they thought it was going to burst into the rocks and just combust. But it didn't. When they got closer to the rocks, two electrical doors apparently opened to let it in. They got closer and what they saw was two figures stood on the edge of the rocks. That night when they got home there was a call. Now the call was actually from Haven Fort Hotel. Mrs. Rose Granville, who lived there, was quite close with Mrs. Coombs. She said she'd seen a flying saucer. She said it had landed behind her hotel. She had watched two men get out of it, walk around as if looking for something, and then they got back in. She explained that when she saw the creatures, she went straight in to find any guests that were still in her hotel to find them and show them what was going on. However, when she got back there, she said that the people and the spacecraft was gone. She said that she watched the spacecraft then move from the hotel over to the rocks, where she had seen exactly the same as what Mrs. Coombs had seen with her family, except she was watching it through binoculars, so she could describe it in far more great detail than Mrs. Coombs could have. Now Mrs. Granville actually went and phoned her local MP and said that she had no idea what was going on, she needed someone to talk to her. They promptly asked the Ministry of Defence to go and talk to Mrs. Coombs. An RAF officer actually visited and was mystified by the whole situation. He couldn't quite believe what she was saying. He did believe her because she was just some woman. Why would she make this up? And that is why UFOologists or ufologists call the area the Welsh Triangle. Have you guys seen any UFOs? I know a lot of people that I know claim to see one, and I think that I saw one once. But maybe that's for another video, guys. If you've enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments. Please leave a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And if you do, hit that notification bell so I can alert you every single time I upload to my channel. And as always, guys, never let anyone dull your sparkle.
It's not for me to say.